Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei Mail. Today, if you're new to this channel, first of all, by the way, because I'm talking about an SMP, this is a channel where I record my thoughts. It's kind of like a little news report thing. Second, I watched Naked and Afraid Season 2, Episode 1. The reason I want to talk about this is because over the past, actually, few years, I've consistently been asked about watching Minecraft content, right? Whether it is the life series, the lifesteal SMP, etc. And aside from what you see on your screen right now, Minecraft speedrunning on stream, I don't really watch Minecraft content. However, rarely I do. And when I do, it's either Rekrap or Redunes, because they are my friends and I think they make good videos. Which leads to Naked and Afraid Season 2, Episode 1, which I watched from the Rekrap2 POV. From now on, I will say, spoiler alert, I will talk about what happened and why I think it is interesting. So I'm just going to keep talking to give you the opportunity to click away in case you do not want to know about any activities that may have occurred during this first episode of Naked and Afraid. Alright, 3, 2, 1, thank you. So, I watched the Rekrap POV, I'll pull it up real
After
quick.
an entire year,
Stop! Thank you. New text layer, by the way. So, I watched the Rekrap POV, and it was incredible. It was really good. Parker is really good at making just exciting videos and catching people's attention. And something that I think they did really well as Naked and Afraid as a squad together here, just going to have Curio in the background, is the environment that it creates, right? Not having chat, etc. makes things quite interesting. You don't know anything that's happening until you find other players, and finding other players, or more so, engaging with other players, is only done via in-game voice chat, which means that there are, talks consistently. You hear everyone in your close proximity, and there's a lot of conflicts that can occur, etc. However, another thing that they add for Naked and Afraid is that they have a sound that plays when a death occurs, and that sound played 3 times during the first episode. I went ahead and looked, or not went ahead, after watching the episode, from Parker's POV, 1 death becomes clear, 2 of them don't. One of them, by process of elimination, you technically could figure out, but not really, because you'd still have to guess. But one of them becomes clear, which is the second death. The first death and the last death, you don't really notice from the Rekrap POV. You don't really know what's going on. So I'll mention which ones occurred. The first death, which was, from what I recall, an hour into the session, ironically was Mog Swamp, who I think previously in the recording sessions, from what I could tell from all the talks, etc., that they were having, was somebody that already was quick to die in the Naked and Afraid series. So Mog Swamp ended up dying pretty early on. The reason I don't recall, actually I do. I think Mog Swamp was killed by a drowned using a trident, or at least I think a drowned with a trident attacked him, and that caused him to, of course, die in the middle of the ocean. Second, actually, before getting to the deaths, I was looking for who died first, and if I'm being fully honest, my first guess was Jaren. And I watched the Jaren POV, which is in a square aspect ratio, and from the Jaren POV, it kind of looked like he might have been the first to die, but miraculously, he wasn't. But what I did encounter from the Jaren POV was the third death, which was Redunes, which I am baffled. I mean, I watched it back, from Red's POV, and I will say, unlucky, I guess. Could he have prevented it? I mean, I guess, but I can't blame the guy. I can't blame the guy for dying in that situation. Some people miss their water bucket clutches. It is what it is. However, yeah. So the interesting thing is that Red died third, but I guess this is in kind of a bad order now. But the second death was one that I did catch during watching Parker's POV, which was actually Branzy. Branzy ended up dying second overall, first on the blue team, or the teams are, it's just a way for people to be split up, but first for the blue team, the red team having lost, I think, 2 players, that being Mog and Red. So the thing about Branzy's death, which is very interesting to me, is that it was kind of intentional. It could have been prevented, but it was kind of intentional because, for those of you who don't know, Branzy is actually having a child, or I think already has a child now, or like is expecting a child. I don't really know, but Branzy's a dad, and obviously cannot dedicate as much time to, seasonal, or not seasonal, but like recording sessions over the span of multiple days. As a dad, you probably do need to commit some extra time to, raising a child. So Branzy's death was kind of intentional. However, it didn't look intentional from the other players' POV. It's only intentional if you watch it from Branzy's POV, which is very interesting because what happened was Branzy died in a trial chamber together with Evbo, which also adds an extra interesting layer to the conversation of this season so far. Evbo, I think, has managed to sneak his way, not in, but like has managed to convince the blue team that he's part of the blue team, when I think in reality he's not. I'm not sure, but like I'm fairly sure he's not, from what I've seen, which is interesting. There was a conflict between Evbo and Clown as well during the Parker POV, which I thought was quite funny. It was expected, kind of. I mean, of course, right? Of course. But it was cool to see, kind of a tension build up. There was also an instance, of course, where the, what's it called? Wunba from the blue team, or sorry, from the red team, ended up making a tunnel to sneak into the, what's it called? Into the blue team's base and steal some of their stuff. I'm fairly sure that's how Evbo ended up on the blue camp, but he just kind of pretended to be part of the squad, I think. Or at least that's what it felt like, which actually does lead me to believe that maybe Mog Swamp could have been part of Team Blue, but Team Blue doesn't know it yet because they might think that Evbo is part of Team Blue, but I think Evbo is part of Team Red. Radoons, of course, is part of Team Red. We know that, confirmed. Evbo kind of is a chameleon as of right now. People don't really know what's up. I mean, I think people do, but like the blue team doesn't. And then Branzy was for sure on Team Blue. Mog Swamp, we don't really know. What's also interesting is people think SB737 died. He didn't. He did not. I watched his POV briefly as well because I was like, he's like the one guy from this SMP that I haven't seen anywhere, and I was also kind of surprised, like, why would SB737, like the guy that does 100 days hardcore, whatever, be the one to die here? But then again, I didn't expect that from Radoons either, so I don't know. Either way, it's an interesting situation overall. So yeah. Anyways, post me talking about the first episode, there's more stuff as well. Again, I gave a spoiler alert, so I just wanted to talk about everything that happened because I thought it was interesting. Regardless, the reason I actually wanted to watch this and why I was engaged was thanks to Wolfeei. I met Wolfeei, of course, when they spent some time in the Netherlands, and I met up with them briefly post TwitchCon, and Wolfeei was actually talking about how excited they were for this Naked and Afraid season and how they thought like it was interesting, and didn't really reveal any details past that from what I recall, but it did kind of intrigue me. I was like, okay, well, you're showing a lot of passion for this season, so I'm curious about how it works. Or more so, they were saying like how they watched I think because when I met, they hadn't done anything yet, but they just said that they were going to be in it. So Wolfeei was like, I watched the first one, I got an invite, I was super excited, etc. So I was like, okay, well, hey, maybe this is something I should watch, and maybe I could play next time. I mean, it seems pretty cool, so hell yeah. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Naked and Afraid, the Minecraft series. Episode 1. That's just my brief experience. Just wanted to let you guys know that I watched the season because I think people have been wanting to see me watch Minecraft SMP content, and this one seems pretty cool. So I'll continue watching the Rekrap POV for as long as it lasts, and yeah, that's all. I'm excited. Anyways, see ya.